Dawes, one of my favorite bands, have a new album coming up tomorrow that I don't get any money from shilling for them. I just really enjoy them and like sharing them. So check out their new album tomorrow. And yeah, like I said, it's World Cup time. I'm on top of the world. I get 3 soccer games a day that I watch in the background. It's a good time to be alive, you know? So welcome everyone. Hello, St. Croix. How you guys doing today? I hope well. Keep in mind for anybody who misses it, because I know we're still not at the close to the full group of people who said they were going to be, or who signed up at least. But this will be recorded. It is going to go on YouTube, so anybody who misses it can totally watch it later. So thanks for joining me today, guys. We are going to talk about, surprise, surprise, Facebook again. This one's going to be a little bit different than last time. So I'm sure I mentioned this last time about like the how and the why, and we kind of covered the how last time, so we're going to talk a lot more about the why today. I think this is a picture of St. Croix, isn't it? About why do we use Facebook, what are the advantages, what are the sort of, not, I wouldn't say disadvantages, but where's the philosophy come from? Right? Because there's a lot of people who use Facebook, but there's not a lot of people who use it right. And that's twofold. That's not only the how, like their ads don't work well or they didn't boost well, but there's also the how in terms, or the why. You know, Facebook, and I know this might sound simple, but Facebook is social media, right? And I see, you know, when I go to my Facebook page, or not my Facebook page, but when I go to facebook.com, or I pull up the app, I see stuff from my friends, I see an ad. I see, if it loads faster, I see stuff from groups that I'm in, I see stuff from sports teams or pages that I like, news things that I follow. So my point is that, and your ad, just like this right here, boom, Coldwell Banker, their ad pops up in the middle of content that I engage with because I want to be there. So if you're going to go ahead and do an ad, your ad needs to stop me, right? It needs to stop me from literally just doing this over and over. It needs to stop me from scrolling right over and not even looking at it. So, and we'll talk about that today, basically, the philosophy about it, what kind of ads do best on Facebook, stuff like that. As always, if you guys have a question, please feel free to write it into the chat box. If you hear me yawn a lot, it's not because I'm bored being here, it's because we have a new puppy in the house, so our sleep levels have been doing the opposite of skyrocketing. So it's not that I'm tired, it's just that I haven't drank all of my coffee yet today. So we're going to start. I've got a couple presentations that cover some of this stuff. So we're going to talk about why Facebook marketing. So normally I give part of this presentation while I'm in a room, but I want you guys, this is not a rhetorical question, so get ready to type in, okay? What do the following 3 photos tell you about me? So take a look at these and type in the chat box what you see in these photos. And while you do so, I'm going to have a couple sips of coffee. Five, 4, 3. There we go. All right. Chris says you someone who. Bryce says you like dogs. Jamie says dogs in relationship. Involved in movies. Love dogs. Have a sweetie. That's perfect. Yeah, great. Okay, good job, guys. So yeah, the 3 main things and everyone's proved me wrong with these since I've given them, but I want to talk about the 3 things, right? So down here in the lower one, you see the 3 dogs, right? So it says I'm a dog person. Up here, you see that I'm on a film set directing one of my shorts from a few years ago. So it says film. A lot of people say nature when they see that one too because they can't see the camera. So nature film. And then this one, yeah, was soccer was kind of the goal here. That a lot of people say that you like Chevy, which is also fair enough from the photo. But soccer, they're the best soccer team in the world. Don't question that. So Facebook is the one platform where you can target anything and everything about somebody. Now this is changing, if you were just on BlueSync, that's changing ever so slightly, which is a different conversation. But you can target so many things about me on Facebook. Imagine what a cost-effective relationship you could begin if you hit my emotional center. But basically a lot of words that I took from this guy, Gary Vee, we'll talk about later. But basically saying, imagine what kind of relationship and how cheap it could be if you made an ad targeted for JD specifically that looked like soccer jerseys for dogs, or a film about my favorite soccer team, or you can mix those, a movie about dogs, or and you take any of those things. Those are just 2 or 3 little examples, right? But what Facebook allows you to do, and also just for the record, I love the idea of these dog jerseys. I have specifically gone out of my way to not look for them online because I know if I did, I would be buying them. Dogs playing soccer. Yeah, I think that's called Air Bud, Chris. And that's so there is a movie like that. I have tried to combine them. I have tried to get my dogs to play soccer, but I think our new puppy will be the one to do that. So, whoops, going the wrong way. So Facebook allows you to create the ideal ad for JD, right? It's not mass marketing. We are not throwing the net out there and hoping we catch some fish. We are going to the right smaller pond where we know there are fish that are going to eat the bait that we have. So in a perfect world, which we obviously don't live in when it comes to Facebook, but in a perfect world, I see ads for products I want. I purchase those products. I get a good product. The business gets paid, and Facebook gets paid as the advertising platform. So that's the perfect world scenario, right? Where I only see ads for things I'm interested in. Facebook gets paid as the advertising platform, and then the business gets their products sold. Just as an example, I don't think it's actually really interesting because there's a coffee company called Bones Coffee Company. I have never seen their advertising anywhere besides Facebook and Instagram. And I started seeing it about a month and a half, a little over a month ago, I'd say. I started seeing their ads on Facebook and on Instagram, both all the time. They know that I'm a coffee person, probably through me purchasing coffee through Instagram ads in the past. About a month ago, like I said, I started seeing their ads. And they have really crazy flavors, like the big one here. They call it Electric Unicorn fruity cereal. They've got I'm going to skip that one for now. They've got a bunch of different flavors that are kind of out there and crazy, and you can kind of tell by their marketing. It's a very specific kind of hipstery kind of style. And they followed me around for like a month, right? And I would go to their website, I would look at their website and their flavors and their products, and I would be tempted every time, but I never pulled the trigger because it's a little bit more expensive than I normally would buy for a pound of coffee. But also, I just didn't need it at the time, right? So, Facebook, Instagram, I'm talking 2 or 3 ads a day I'm seeing these guys. Finally, I see this ad come up. Our new s'mores flavored coffee. And that to me was what made me pull the trigger. So the coffee that I'm talking about drinking right now is the Bone S'more Time coffee. It's literally in my left hand right now. But what these guys did, they have built a Facebook audience of 263,000 people on their page, purely, or at least the vast majority of which was made through Facebook and Instagram marketing. This is their shop. They have a website where you buy the products, but I can buy the stuff through Facebook if I want to. I can they target their advertising here. Now it took a while. Excuse me, there's that first yawn, but through these 3 things, right? They know that I'm interested in coffee. Facebook is a good advertising platform, and then me buying it, they were able to get more and more, and it's amazing. For the record, again, not to shill for other companies, it's great coffee. It was well worth the wait. But they are a great example of a not even an industry, but a brand that has built their audience through Facebook and Instagram and are big now. They're not huge, they're not Folgers or Starbucks, but they're big all through online marketing by following the steps over here. So other reasons for Facebook. So this and the next thing I'm going to talk about, which are some demographics. I'm pretty sure I did not go over last time, but if I did, just stop me. But this goes into the why. So Facebook has all the puzzle pieces. That's one of the main reasons why Facebook and a lot of Twitter and a couple other social media platforms have been around for about a decade now. I think Facebook's been around since 2005, 2006. And there have been a lot of other social media platforms that have started and then failed, and then started a couple years later and then failed. MySpace is a fantastic example of that. It was huge and then it fell, and then they tried to rebrand it about 2, maybe 3 years ago, and it fell again. The reason Facebook continues to be the biggest and best platform is because they keep gathering all the puzzle pieces. So, for example, Yelp. Yelp is great for reviews, and it's great for menus and business hours and stuff like that. But short of that, Yelp doesn't do much else. And the other problem with Yelp is that you have to go so far out of your way to leave a review that's why it was all negative reviews. If I go to a restaurant and have a decent meal, good food, good service, I'm not going to go out of my way to leave a review and say that, because it doesn't compel me to do so. But if I have a horrible experience, the waiter was rude, the food was cold and disgusting, there was a bug in the vegetables or something, I'm going to go out of my way to Yelp and do that. What started to happen was all the negative reviews would go to Yelp. So Yelp set up a program where businesses could pay to put their positive reviews toward the top, and then people found out about that, and Yelp became an untrustworthy place. And part of what played into all of that was the fact that that was basically all Yelp did, was reviews. Same thing with Craigslist. And Craigslist is not nearly in as bad of shape as Yelp is, but Craigslist, buying and selling things on a marketplace. But if I find something I like, I have to call them, or I have to find their email or copy their little weird Craigslist email and then paste that into my email and then send them a message about what I was interested in. And then if I want to buy it, I have to meet up with them, and I have to give them cash or something like that. So, and I saw someone raise one of their hands. I didn't know if there was a question. But my point there is, and I'm going to get out of this mode because it makes it a little bit more difficult and it's not too much smaller here. Facebook has all of those puzzle pieces and it continues to gather them. So reviews, menus and stuff, they have made their business pages to be able to include all of that information. Or the marketplace part of it. Facebook has their own marketplace now, where if I see something I like, I can message the seller right there. If I decide I want it, I can even pay for it through Facebook if I want to, and then all I gotta do is arrange for pickup. Facebook takes everything that you need, or attempts to take everything you need and put it on their site, so you never have to leave if you don't want to. And that's what they want. They don't want you to leave, right? So, but that's why it works, is that they don't try to do something different. They try to do what their audience wants. And that's going to be a big part of our philosophy as we move on for the next 45 minutes. You need to be doing what your audience wants, not what you want them to do. The average American spends 40 minutes a day on Facebook. Now, does that mean all at once they just open their phone or open their computer and sit there for 40 minutes? Of course not. But what that does mean is that I'm waiting in line at the bathroom. I'm waiting in line at Starbucks. A commercial comes on TV. I pull out my phone. It all adds up. They have over, and I just saw an ad from Facebook yesterday about Facebook, that over 2.1 billion monthly users. So not just like profiles, active monthly users. About 86% of those users are using their phone, are daily mobile users. Now, I use Facebook on mobile for, I'd say, the majority of my stuff. The stuff that I don't use it for is business pages and ads. I use a computer for that. That's personal preference. You can do it all from your phone, but I prefer doing it from the computer. On average, this is of course one of the big parts. On average, it costs about 6.4 cents to get a click on your ad, and between $7 and $10 to get 1,000 people to see your ad. So think about that again. On the high end, it costs you $10 to get 1,000 people to see your ad. Not for the opportunity for them to see it, $1,000 for your ad to come across their page. That's pretty cool. And then, of course, the advertising customization and the analytics and metrics. So basically, those last 2 points, you can do so many different kinds of ads on Facebook. You can do listings and properties and stuff, and there's no harm in doing that. But the number of agents I've talked to who say, oh, it'd be really cool if I did, I've had this idea to do like blah, blah, blah for a video, or I've had this really cool idea to do this for an ad. I always tell them, don't stop there. This is the place where you can do that. If you have a funny or out there or interesting or just a form of advertising you've never tried before, or an idea you've never pulled the trigger on, do it. There's no harm in trying it. And the great part is that with the analytics and the metrics, you can track all that. You can see how it does. If you have a wacky idea and then it doesn't do well, okay, don't do it again. If it does do well, you go, awesome. Worst case scenario, it flops. Worst case is you do an ad that you think is going to do well and it doesn't do well. That's the worst that can happen. Unless you start getting into politics and religion and you make a fool of yourself, you could probably lose some business share that way. So demographics. I hear two different things about Facebook when it comes to demographics. One of them is that, and they kind of play into each other, right? One of them is that, well, I guess they're the same thing, that Facebook is just for millennials. That's what I hear the most. Well, Facebook's just for millennials. And it's just blatantly not true. You know, I think there's a lot of anecdotal stories and evidence, anecdotal evidence that people bring to me. They're like, well, my daughter isn't on Facebook. Or at the flip of that, well, my stepmom isn't on Facebook. That's fine. There's nothing, nobody has to be on Facebook. But to take that one example and tell me that people don't use it is just not true. But for the first demographic thing I want to show you, we are going to go with the assumption that Facebook is only for millennials. Let's just assume that that's true, okay? These are stats from NAR for 2016 and 2017, the age of home buyers. If you look over here, you'll see that 34% of the home buying market is made up of millennials, 36 and younger. That's what millennials are. So normally 1980 is sort of the point, but that's, splitting hairs. So over a third of the home buying market is made up of millennials. And if you look at this point down in the corner here, they actually make up 2/3 of first-time home buyers. So let's just say that millennials are the only ones on Facebook. Do you really want to miss out on a third of the entire home buying market and 2/3 of all first-time home buyers? And alternatively, and I don't have stats on this, and I probably should. I've looked before, but I should probably look more. I would be really curious to see the breakdown of people who subscribe to the paper, people who subscribe to cable, because I know, and maybe this is me being anecdotal. The vast majority of millennials I know, we don't pay for cable. We have Netflix, or we have Hulu, or Amazon, or a combination of those things, but we don't pay for cable. We don't get the paper either. So not only is this a way to reach millennials, my assumption and my gut tells me that the other forms of advertising that we do a lot, newspaper, TV, maybe even radio, are on the flip side just as unusable with millennials. So do you really want to leave out an entire third of the home buying market in your marketing plan? Secondly, this is a bunch of Facebook stats. Basically, there's a bunch of interesting things on here, but essentially the important ones are the bottom three, where what this is saying is that the majority of every demographic who is on Facebook, who is online. So millennials, Gen X, Gen Z, baby boomers, every generation that is on Facebook or that is on the internet, the majority of them are on Facebook. So this bottom stat, 56% of online users ages 65 and older use Facebook. And that percentage only gets higher the younger you go. So 30 to 49-year-olds, 79% use Facebook. 18 to 29-year-olds, 82%. So every demographic that is on the internet, the majority of them use Facebook. So again, it's not just millennials. There are plenty of people of all demographics on Facebook. And so I think that's just an easy cop-out that a lot of people give me is, I don't want to use Facebook because not everybody's on there. Well, not everybody is anywhere. That's a point that I get that really pisses me off a lot, is people say, well, not everybody's on Facebook, so I don't know if I should use it. Okay, well then you tell me where everybody is. Does everybody read that magazine? Does everybody get the paper? Does everybody watch television? Does everybody listen to the radio? Does everybody drive past that billboard, right? There is no form of marketing that targets everybody, that everybody will see. There shouldn't be, and that'd be scary. But the question becomes, the reason I advertise Facebook, the reason why I'm here, at this company, is because if someone were to come to me and say, what is the best new form of marketing I could do? What is the cheapest way for me to reach more people right now, for me to do something new? The answer is Facebook. Facebook and Instagram, because they're tied in together, are the cheapest way to reach the most amount of people right now. And that's the end of the. I mean, I can't even talk today. You guys get what I'm saying. So we're going to talk about this point from Gary Vaynerchuk, and then we're going to go into a much bigger presentation, a much bigger segment from Gary. So there are hundreds of papers, articles, and videos, tutorials that will teach you how to create Facebook ads. Some of them I've created myself for the Schmidt family of companies. I mean, like these webinars, honestly. But what will determine whether your ads work or not will be how much time you spend listening to your consumers and gauging what content will best speak to them. The only way to figure that out is to experiment and see what happens. So basically what Gary is saying is that the how is important, but it's not what's going to determine your success. What's going to determine your success is if you listen to your audience and create stuff that they want to see. If you give them value, right? So I'm gonna tell you more about Gary in this next part of the presentation. Why do we post content? So, one of the main points I talked about last week and especially this week is that content is king. What you post is so important to your page, to your audience, to growing your kind of brand recognition. It's the main thing that drives that. So. Again, if you guys have questions, let me know as we go. But we're going to talk about why do we post content. So like I said, I always suggest sharing lifestyle and local content. And especially, again, video, right? Video is the huge, huge part of this. But local events, local articles, recommendations. What's your favorite place to get coffee? What's your favorite, what's the best view? Dinner with a view sort of a thing. 5 ways to do this, 5 reasons this, 5 tips, blah, blah, blah. Right? Like I said, we got a new, as far as video goes, we got a new puppy. I'm going to show you guys me because this is easier to say. I got a new puppy a week and a half ago now. I don't know, last Sunday, right? And instead of posting an article, I could do a video and say, hey guys, JD here, this is our new puppy, Rooney. Training a puppy is tough, and I wanted to tell you 2 tips that have really made it easier for us so far. Tip 1, blah, blah, blah. Tip 2, blah, blah, blah. Hope you guys found this interesting. As always, if you need help with real estate, give me a call. Otherwise, have a great day, right? Short little video that gives value to my audience. But why? A video like that, a post about your local, like I said, local restaurant or events going on downtown. I was giving a presentation about sharing content once in this office, in the Holland office, and one of the agents said, well, how's that going to get me more listings? And this agent in particular is always very concerned. If I do this, what is the exact return? What if I post one article? How do I get a listing out of it? And unfortunately, well, I don't even say unfortunately, but unfortunately, that's not how this works. It's not a one-to-one return, especially if it's as easy as posting an article, right? But what it does is it grows your brand, it grows your name, and it creates a relationship. And that's what we're going to focus on this presentation, right? So let me go back to the actual presentation part. Why? Why do we post these things? So this guy here, you saw a picture of him earlier. This is Gary Vaynerchuk. He's an American entrepreneur, 4-time bestseller, speaker, internet personality. First known as a wine critic who managed his family's wine business. So Gary, in the late 90s, took his parents' wine business from about $4 million a year to about $40 million a year over the course of 4 years. Lots of 4s, easy to remember. And don't quote me on those numbers specifically, but he grew his parents' wine business about 10 times the size that it was when he took over. The way he did that was email marketing, was newsletters, coupons in an email. It was, like I said, 20 years ago. So we're talking in the late 90s. Do you guys remember getting newsletters in your email in the late 90s? Nobody was doing it. It was an idea that came up. I don't know if, admittedly, I don't know if he came up with the idea or if he saw somebody do it. But what he then did was put so much faith and work into that method, and it paid off literally tenfold. So what Gary is really good at doing, and you can see that in the next point, what Gary is really good at doing is investing and trying new things and seeing how they pan out. He was an early investor in Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Snapchat, Uber, and a lot more. On the flip side of that, he's also invested in things that have flopped. That's just the nature of being, an investor. And now I'm not here as an investor, but one of the main things he does and he talks about is this idea that you can't, and I'm going to talk about this more at the end, you can't try to just dip your toes into something and hope that you get mass success out of it. Because if you're just dipping your toes in and other people are diving in head first, they are putting so much more work and effort and probably money into it, and they're going to get the success back on that level. If you only spend 10% of what I'm spending, you're only going to get 10% of the success, more or less. Gary is a regular keynote speaker at global entrepreneurships and technology conferences. I don't think this clip is going to work. I don't think video comes through well, so I'm going to try it. And when it doesn't work, I'll just kind of talk about it. Whoops.
People continue to put out content that is in
okay, yeah, so this isn't going to work well. But I don't know if you guys know what Inman is, INMAN, but Inman is a real estate marketing kind of company, I guess, like a digital magazine, digital subscription website. And Gary in November 2016 was the keynote speaker at Inman. He did an hour-long keynote conversation about real estate and social media specifically. I think there's a lot of content out there about social media marketing, and there's a lot of realtors out there talking about social media marketing, but a lot of those videos, I see lots of YouTube channels about realtors trying to give top 10 tips on how to get Facebook leads and stuff. And not to speak poorly against those people at all, but they are realtors first, social media marketers second. And they've had things that have worked for them, which is great. And they very well could work for you too. But Gary spoke from a point of somebody who knows real estate and who knows social media marketing. So if you ever have free time, go to YouTube. Or if you just want to watch it incrementally over time, go to YouTube and literally just type in Gary V. Inman. And you'll see it pop up here. He uploaded it himself for free. It is a 51-minute webinar or conversation where he talks about real estate specifically and social media marketing. And it is so well worth your time. I guarantee you will get something interesting from it. The reason I loved it so much was when I you can see right here, my Gary V inspired real estate career. Like, he's not the only, people are watching it and getting stuff out of it. So, go ahead and watch it. It was funny for me because when I'd been giving presentations about, real estate marketing in the company for a few months, and then I saw this video, and I'm like, this is exactly what I've been trying to convey to everybody, but they're doing it a lot. He's doing it a lot better. So watch that clip. But basically, what this clip talks about is he talks about how, and we'll just do this because it's easier so you don't look at that. He talks about how real estate industry as a whole is so concerned with how they look. How, a specific realtor or a brand or any part of the industry so concerned with, if I put this ad out there, what's it going to do for me? Because that's how we thrive as agents. That's how you thrive, right? You need leads because that's where your income comes from, and that makes complete sense. But if all you're concerned about is what this does for you, why should I click on your ad? If you put an advertisement out there or you create some sort of marketing piece that all it does is showcase how great you are and make you look really good, but it does nothing for me, then I'm not going to care. I'm not going to click on your ad. I'm not going to buy your product. It does nothing for me. It gives me no value. So what we're going to talk about, and what Gary talks about in this video, is that you need to become the digital mayor of your town, of your island. You need to become the person people go to for information and that they trust. And what comes out of that, so like I said, hey, just taking a picture down at the beach or at a restaurant with a great view, and you say, love coming to so-and-so because of the great food, but also the great views, right? Hey guys, there's a parade going on downtown this weekend. There's some cool stuff. Hey, we're doing an whatever it is. What you're doing is you are providing value to the people who are in your sphere, who are in your audience, who see the ads that you put out outside of your sphere, right? That you are providing them value. And what comes out of that is a relationship. So the more value you provide me, the more I start to trust you because you're giving me stuff. And the more I start to trust you, the more likely I am to use your product. Like I was saying, just the same thing with the coffee people, right? I did not just see one ad from them and buy their stuff immediately. There we go, buy their stuff immediately. I saw dozens of ads from them. I looked at reviews. I thought their marketing was interesting. I thought their product looked good. And over the course of a month, there was a relationship built between us so that by the time a new product came out, I was ready to buy it. So basically, the more value you provide your audience, the more of a relationship you build. What comes out of that relationship is a better ability to market to those people. So again, if you create an ad or shoot a video and just say, hey, if you guys have referrals, I would love to talk with your friends and family. I need referrals or something along those lines. If that's the first thing I saw from you, I'm not gonna care. I don't know who you are. I don't know why I should give you my business. I don't know anything about you. But if over the course of a month or two I see ads from you that tell me interesting things to do around town, are interesting or funny, and you know, like I said, the dog video. That's not a real estate video, but that's value in raising a puppy. If I show you 3 quick gardening tips, right? I don't know if you guys saw the video I did a week or two ago about the Russian hacking router thing, but again, is that real estate related? No, but that's value. The more value I provide, ideally, the more you like me, the more you recognize me, the more you trust me. And so by the time that I say, hey, by the way, if you guys have any referrals or if you're thinking about buying or selling, give me a call. By the time I say that, that's already second nature to you. You go, well, of course. Why wouldn't we go to you? I got a question here I'm going to pull up quick. Is there a correlation in your mind between the coffee retail type of product and a home or condo purchase? Yes, Chris. Yes, Chris, there is. I know that I do that a lot where I use other examples outside of real estate when it comes to marketing examples. But I think the mindset is exactly the same. The goal is exactly the same. What Bones Coffee, what you are trying to do is build a relationship with your sphere and the people in your area to the point that they buy your product, that they work with you. I'd say every big player in real estate marketing or real estate social advertising that I've talked to, so I mean agents in our company who have great success with it, every person that I've talked to, their stories always start the same. They say, yeah, I get a call or I get a client that says, hey, JD, I keep seeing your ads pop up on Facebook. I keep seeing your face show up on my Facebook feed, right? There are 2 people in particular that every story they tell me starts with, I keep seeing, or I kept watching, right? So what that shows is that consistency, that getting in front of them all the time is so, so, so important. There was one agent, I've mentioned him before. I think he's a great example of really great marketing on Facebook and personal branding is Chris Jane. He's out of our Big Rapids office in mid-Michigan. So Chris Jane Sells Homes is his business page. But he told me we were talking the other day, or this was a couple months ago now. We talked on a Monday, and he said that the previous weekend he was walking around downtown, back from lunch to his car, and some guy in a DTE Energy, they're like, you know, an electric company here, pulled over and said, Chris, I recognize you from Facebook. I see your videos all the time. Listen, my wife and I have been thinking about selling. Do you have a card that we can call you about and set up a meeting? And of course, Chris gave him his card, and off the guy went back into his van. But people were literally pulling over to talk to him, or because they recognized him. He is known as the video guy in his town because he takes these ideas, he takes these tips, and he does something with them. He gets his marketing out there. He's true to himself, so people like him. So yeah, to answer your question, Chris, the best form of Facebook marketing and what Bones was doing and what you guys should try to be doing is providing value, growing your sphere of influence or the people who recognize you, and then over time, with enough consistency, those people come to you without you even having to ask them to. I remember the manager up in our Traverse City office, in the 402 office, his name is Bart Ford. He does this thing, again, go to Bart Ford Real Estate on Facebook. He does this thing where every listing that he closes, he goes in front of the listing with a sign and he goes, this is Bart Ford at 123 Main Street in Traverse City, Michigan. She gone, and then puts the sign in the yard. She gone is his catchphrase. I don't know where it came from. I don't know why he says it, but he says it with every listing. And he used to post photos of those. Every time he'd do it, he'd sign over his back or sign in the thing, and he'd say, she gone. And I was like, Bart, you got to do these in video. And he said, no. And I said, Bart, you got to do these in video. And he said, okay. So he tried it, and thousands of views, hundreds of views. People, he'd started, the first one was pretty awkward. The most recent one he did, he started them in like February. In March for St. Patty's Day, he was wearing green and he was wearing a kilt and did an Irish jig afterward. One of the more recent ones, he was wearing his high school varsity jacket and slid down a slide. They're silly, but they're true to who he is. And we were talking about it last time I was up in Traverse City, and he was like, yeah, there are people commenting on those videos I don't even know. And I was like, yeah, that's what you want. you're growing, you're getting new clients, you're getting new business, you're attracting attention. He was so confused that these people he had never heard of before, but I'm like, dude, that's exactly what you're trying to do. You're trying to get new clients. So the end goal of any business on Facebook is to get more business. As whether it's coffee, whether it's sports, whether it's a movie, a video game, anything, a real estate broker or agent or company. The goal is to get more business. Not everybody does that the right way. The right way is to provide, in my experience, in my opinion, right, is to provide so much value that people want to work with you before you even ask them to. Now, value is a very nebulous term, and if you watch Coffee with Mike recently, Steve Bell, our CFO, talked about that too. Value is a very nebulous term, and it can mean a lot of things, but what it boils down to is, what do I get from you, from our relationship? By working with you, by following your business page, by watching your videos, what do I get out of it? It's a bit of a selfish thing, but again, when I see your ad for the first time, I owe you nothing. So going back to this presentation, value is key. Value is key. Now, we didn't watch this clip, so don't worry about these other points, but please go ahead and watch that Inman thing if you have time over the next few weeks, because it's very interesting. So this is all stuff from Gary. It's his entire business philosophy pretty much revolves around the jab, 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 right hook method. Now, I'm not a boxer, so I don't know much about boxing, but this is pretty self-explanatory. Jabs are the value you provide your customers with, the content you put out, the good things you do to convey your appreciation. Now, this is not just Facebook, right? This is not just articles or videos. It's anything. It's sponsoring an event downtown. It's sending out, gift baskets or fruit baskets to your clients. It's any value that you give where you do not expect something in return. If you really want to boil it down to simplicity, it's being a good person to a small degree. But yeah, it's about the value you provide. The right hook is the ask. The right hook is when you say, work with me. If you have any referrals, anything like that. The right hook is the kill, basically, the ask. This is why we post more content. If you're constantly right hooking people, if all you're trying to do is get something from them, people will get frustrated. That's where the used car salesman thing comes from. That's where the pushy real estate agent mindset comes from. It's all that, all real estate agents are trying to do is try to get a commission from me. They're not really there to help me, right? I'm sure you've all heard that at some point or another, right? That's not, first of all, it's mostly not true. Hopefully, especially in the Schmidt family of companies. We have some great, great agents, including everybody on this call right now. So to fight that, to make sure people don't get frustrated, you need to give your audience value, not just yourself. Now, it takes time, right? You have to be okay with not landing the right hook all the time. I had one agent, so in the span of your career, 3 months is nothing. Now, I know it's different in an industry where you're built completely off commissions, but I had one agent come to me last summer, and he said, hey, I don't think I'm going to do Facebook marketing anymore. It doesn't work. And I said, all right, let's talk about that. Let me switch back to here so it's easier. I said, all right, let's talk about that. So he pulled up his business page and we looked at it. And this was almost a year ago. So this was last July. And he says, I've done 3 ads. I'm like, okay. So we look, yep, he's done 3 different ads. And I said, okay, how long did you run each ad for? And he said, about 3 days each. And sure enough, yep, 3 days, 3 days, 3 days. And then I said, how spaced out are these ads? And he said, well, when did you start? And again, remember, this is July. So I started last September. He goes, okay, so I've done 3 ads in September. So over the course of literally 9 months, July, August, September, so maybe even 10, well, it was always 9 in my example, so maybe it happened in June. Over the course of 9 months, this guy ran 3 ads for 3 days apiece. So if you do the math on that, he advertised on Facebook for 1 day a month, every month, for 9 months. If you do that with any form of marketing, you're not going to have success. That is not about the Facebook platform. That is about your consistency in marketing. If you put up a billboard for a day and then take it down, you're not going to have success. If you run a commercial on TV one time, you're not going to have success, right? The consistency part is huge. Now, on the flip, one of the guys that I talk about who's had great success with Facebook started in December 2016. He's mid to late, I'll say mid 50s. Never had anything to do with real estate before. I think he had, he worked in construction about 25 years previous, but he'd been in the auto industry for the past decade or so. And he sat down with me, he goes, Facebook's going to be my thing. Facebook is going to be where I get clients and where I get new business. I said, awesome, let's do it. So we start doing it, and last year he closed just under $4 million in his first year in real estate, and the only place he got new, and he said this on a panel, he'll say, he'll tell you if you ask, only place he got new clients, new leads was Facebook and open houses. Only 2 places. But he was doing 2 to 3 Facebook ads a week. Every week. Not posts, ads. 3 posts a day, 3 ads a week. Now, that is a lot, right? These ads were not expensive. They were $3, $5. Maybe if it was a new listing he had or a bigger thing, he would do 10 or 15, which is a different thing to talk about. But he was advertising to people weekly. So, on the flip, I always tell you guys, if you can, you should be at least posting 1 thing a day. 5 to 7 days a week. 5 to 7 posts a week. The reason being, on the flip, I have an agent in this office too. I have an agent in this office who is insistent on only posting once a week on Thursdays. That's the only time they post on Facebook, on Thursdays. I don't know why Thursdays. That's just what they do. That's 1 opportunity a week you're giving your sphere to see your name on Facebook, to see you pop up. If I'm off Facebook that day, if I'm traveling, if I'm on vacation, if I'm busy, going to anything, I might not see your name. Your post might not pop up on my Facebook page. If you only do that once a week, I might not see you. I might only see you once every 3 or 4 weeks. And how is that good for marketing? The flip of that is that if you post 5 to 7 times a week, that's 5 to 7 opportunities every week I have to see your face, to see JD Waldvogel Realtor pop up on Facebook, to see an interesting piece of content from you. The more you post, the more opportunities you have to get in front of people. Now, one thing I hear from that a lot is, okay, well, should I, am I going to annoy people? Am I going to turn people off? Facebook's algorithm, it does a much better job controlling that than it used to. So I have only been annoyed with 1 person on Facebook, as far as real estate goes, over the past year and a half. And it's because they did 2 or 3 videos a day, all from their office. So the idea was great, but the setting was mundane, and that was too much. 3 videos a day or 2 videos a day was too much. Short of that, I've never been annoyed. And keep in mind too, I follow, I don't know how many real estate pages and agents on Facebook. The average consumer studies have shown that, or research has shown that I've read, that only follows 1 to 2 real estate pages. So anything that we see that we think happens way too much, the average consumer or the average Facebook user sees 1 to 2 agents. So you're not going to be annoying them in the way that you think you are. But that consistency is huge. 5 days a week, 3 ads a week. This Dave guy does. And then what started to happen 2 or 3 months into it, Facebook message, phone call, email. Hey Dave, I keep seeing your ads on Facebook. Hey, I keep seeing your videos. They're pretty cool. I keep seeing your name pop up. Can we sit down and talk? Right? The consistency and getting in front of the same people was so important and paid off. He's having an amazing year now. And again, Facebook marketing is the thing. Again, with this Chris Jane guy that I was talking about, he does videos all the time. He does interesting, fun. He's very true to who he is. But he's also told me that he spends about $200 to $300 a month on Facebook, which is a lot of money. Now, compared to how much you might pay for Zillow, it's not that much, but $200 to $300 a month. So I have agents who see that, who see the success that Chris has, and they go, I want to do that too. I want to get those leads. I want to have as much success on Facebook as Chris has. I'm going to spend $20 or $30 a month, I think. So again, this goes back to my point in the beginning. If you're only going to spend 10% of what the big dogs, and again, when I say the big dogs, I mean agents in our company are spending, how on earth can you expect to get the same amount of success? That's the cycle that I see happen. I see people hear that Facebook is really powerful, hear me talk or listen to a presentation I give, and go, okay, I'm going to try Facebook a little bit. A little bit. They spend $20 a month, they post like 2 or 3 times a week, or they pay somebody else to post for them, or they don't do anything interesting. They do new listing, paste, boost $5, done, right? It becomes kind of autopilot. I see people do that. It doesn't pay off for them the way they think it does, and then they complain that Facebook doesn't work and they don't use it anymore. That's the cycle that you need to break out of. I say this, and I swear to you, if I were buying and selling, if my full-time job was buying and selling, I would back this up 100%. If I were buying and selling full-time, I would say 80 to 85% of my marketing dollars would go toward Facebook. That is where I would build my business. Just like Bones Coffee, just kind of going back to that example. This is where I would spend the majority of my marketing budget because this is where my audience is. This is where I can execute fun and interesting ideas, and this is where I can give value. So another video that I will hopefully remember to put in the YouTube link for the when it's recorded. And again, I show you guys the video now, but it's not going to work very well over the webinar software. There's an agent, and it's finally timely again. There's an agent in California, not even with Coldwell Banker, who posted this video to his business page, and he posted this as an example of marketing that he did that worked well. So hi, this is Josh. I'm just gonna get a screenshot of him up real quick. He does this video here where he says summer is here and it's getting close. Be ready for the 4th of July with the help from Josh Zollinger and friends. So in this video, he gives 2 tips. One of the tips is be careful because dogs get frightened from fireworks. And then there's a shot of his dog with headphones on. And then the next shot is him saying, if you use fireworks, be careful of a dud. Always have water handy. And the next thing he does is his daughters all douse him in water because of, one of the fireworks was a dud. And then at the end he says, have a safe 4th of July, have a great day. If you have any questions about real estate, give me a call. Otherwise, happy birthday. His daughters all say happy birthday, America, and it's cute. So this is about a minute. This video is, how long is it? It is
with the ranch realty.
a minute 7. A minute 7 is how long this video is. He mentions real estate in this video twice. Once right there where he goes, this is Josh Zollinger with the Ranch Realty. Once at the end where he says, if you have any questions about real estate, give me a call. Everything in between is just humor and value. Now, humor is not the only way to go. It is an easy kind of example, but humor is not the only way to go. But he sent this out there on like a weekday morning. Again, not asking for new clients, not asking for business, just providing interesting and humorous value. And he said by 3 o'clock that afternoon, he got a call from somebody who said, hey, my friend shared your video on Facebook, and I thought it was hilarious. We've been thinking about selling. Can you come sit down with us, right? This video, if I zoom in here, 12,000 views on this video, all from shares. These 5 shares is just from the group, so those don't even count toward the actual thing. 12,000 views because the content he provided was interesting and funny. About 3 Facebook ads a week. Are those 3 ads? Yeah. So, Chris, to go back to your point, you said when you talk about 3 ads a week, are those 3 ads the same ad set audience? My understanding from what Dave did was yes. And the reason why this works is that he created a relatively, I wouldn't say super small audience, but a relatively small audience on Facebook. And then targeted, hit ads to those people 2 or 3 times a week. Now, what that did was it showed, I don't know why the video is not popping up for me right now. There we go. What that did was got him in front of the same people consistently. So they saw him over and over and over. He wasn't spreading himself. It was a pretty generic audience. It was probably, 30 to 55-year-olds in Grand Haven who are interested in real estate. It could have even been that vague. But he targeted the same people over and over. So that maybe I saw his ads this week, maybe I didn't the next week, maybe I saw 1 in week 3, I saw 2 in week 4. He hit the same people over and over. Bri says, do you recommend only boosting real estate posts or some of the fun non-real estate posts too? I would personally, so here's what I say to that, Bri, is that people are always going to relate better to a person than to a property. Now, obviously, there are great ways that you can market your listings and get those out there, and I think those should not be discredited. But the stuff that on Facebook, in my experience, in my opinion, brings the most value is the other fun non-real estate posts. Because, and again, this gets kind of meta, and I know that this is there's not as many bullet points in this presentation. That's kind of the point. Is that if I'm gonna work with a real estate agent, I want it to be somebody that I like, right? I'm not gonna work with somebody that I don't like. what your goal is on a social media platform. I mean, Facebook can be used for lead gen, absolutely, but it is not a first and foremost lead gen platform. It is a social platform. Facebook told us in January, they told not just Coldwell Banker, everybody, that their goals as a company are relationships and engagement. That is the goal. Those are the goals of Facebook. And if they have straight up told us that, we should be trying to take advantage of that. So what that Josh guy was trying to do in that video, what I would be trying to do in my marketing is build a relationship with people. Give them value. Like I said, if I did a video with my dogs about anything, right? If I did a funny video where it was my voice, but it was my dog in a little cute tie answering the phone, and the idea was, you know, to work with the Waldvogel team, we won't bark your ear off. Again, that was off the top of my head. It wasn't the best formulated idea. But if I put that out there as a funny little ad on my business page, that's great value. It's funny. It makes me come off well, hopefully. And it's interesting. Does that get me a direct lead? No, but it grows my name in my area, in my market. Another example that... are you talking? I'm talking both, Chris, posts and ads. I'm saying specifically ads. If you're going to boost stuff, there's nothing wrong with boosting listings. But again, if you're marketing in your area, growing your name is something that's going to work. So one of our agents, and I was just realizing this as I was talking about the dog thing, Geenan Holmes at Coldwell Banker. Kyle works out of our office, heavy hitter, 2.5 thousand people on his business page. One of the greatest things for his marketing that he's done recently was, I don't know, I mean, probably about a month ago now. Okay, April 26th, so 2 months ago, it was National Bring Your Kids to Work Day. He did a video where he had his 2 or 3 sons come in. I'm going to turn the audio off. And you probably won't be able to see it too well. It's his baby answering the phone. It's them dressed up in suits working the front desk. Again, this video does not get leads for him directly, but it's cute. I mean, that's a cute kid, right? It's funny. It got 126, look up here, 126 reactions, 13 shares, and 6.2 thousand views. All because he brought his kids into the office and shot a funny video. So if I, JD, were marketing myself on Facebook, on advertising, a lot of the content I do would not be real estate specific. I would still be talking about it. You know, I'd say, I'm trying to make sure that you, oops, shoot, no, I'm pressing way too many buttons here. Nope, can't talk to you, that's my wife. So all of this content, the goal of it is to build that relationship, to make me relatable, to make me likable, to make people want to say, hey, I'll give you a call, especially when it comes to sellers and listings, because if I put up a listing, right, hey, new listing, check this out, I'm marketing that listing. I'm trying to get somebody to buy that listing. And I'm also showing that I'm busy and have, you know, business, but that's not going to be as appealing to sellers because they're not necessarily going to be interested in that property. What you want to do is market yourself, what you get out of working with me. Maybe, you know, of course, there are other things that play into that, like your marketing materials, your listing presentation, stuff like that. But marketing you versus your properties is the kind of approach to take, again, on social media. Because I want your ad to stand out to me when I'm looking at my friends' posts, when I'm looking at other stuff. It's that consistency and the content, again, the content is king, that makes you relatable. So to answer your question, yeah, I would say a lot of the content that I would give. Now, again, you don't want to go so far off base that it has nothing to do with your page at all. But, you know, I'd start, hey, guys, JD here, realtor with Coldwell Banker, Woodland Schmidt. And then go into whatever I'm going to do, the value that I provide. And then, of course, at the end, if you guys have any questions about real estate, give me a call. Otherwise, have a great day. One great example, and I mentioned him earlier, but if you go to Chris Jane, if you go to his Facebook business page, Chris Jane Sells Homes, he does a great job of listing videos. He does really, really great listing videos. They're all from his smartphone. They're all from, like, I mean, I'm pretty sure he even uses like a selfie stick. But they showcase him really well. He's in there. You hear his voice. You see his face. Showcases the listing well. And I mean, I should back up. I always say Chris's videos do 4 things great. They market the home because it is a listing video. People are, they're trying to show people the listing. They market him well because They show him. It starts with him. He's got his little logo. He's a funny guy. Well, I won't even say he's that funny. He's a really nice, genuine guy. It gives the sellers value because you just did a video for their listing. And then fourth, it shows potential sellers what I would do for your listing, what he would do for your listing. So they say, oh wow, look, that video he did was really great. If we listed with him, he'd probably do the same sort of video. So one listing video did 4 things, which is fantastic. So yeah, a lot of this content, and again, it's a balance, right? You post some of the stuff that is interesting or lifestyle value. You post some of your listing stuff. You post an ad for your team. You do something else. So like it's mixing it up, but the value that you provide is going to be what drives people to work with you. Not what you ask them to do, but what you give them. And then another kind of point just to think about with this is coldwellbanker.com/blog. Coldwell Banker has a fantastic blog. I'd say about half the content on there is great. Half of it you could take or leave. Some of it, you have to think about who your audience is when you're posting. But there's one article on there that I saw was how to move your pets great distances, long distances, right? And it was like 5 or 6 tips on moving your pet long distances. Now, it's a great article, great photo, great information. I have 2 options though. I could post that article to my Facebook page and say that, hey, great tips. I've had to do this before. If you find value or, great tips. I've had to do this before and these tips were pretty helpful, right? I could post that article. And then I could hope that people who are on their phone see that ad pop up, click on it, and then scroll through and read that article. Or I could go, that's interesting information. I could set my iPhone down in front of me on the couch. I could pick up my dog, who we adopted in Los Angeles, set him on my lap and say, hey guys, JD here, JD and Gus, realtors with Coldwell Banker, Woodland Schmidt. Listen, when we adopted Gus in Los Angeles, we had to move him to Holland, Michigan, which was a 3-day trip. And there were some tips that I wish I would have known that I wanted to tell you guys. Tip number 1, make sure they're comfortable. I know it sounds simple, but make sure that they have a nice, safe place to feel comfortable. Give them a couple blankets or something. Step 2, and we learned this the hard way, make sure to minimize the amount of motion they feel. You want them to be as stable as possible, because if they're moving around the whole time, someone's going to be sick in your car, and it's not going to be nice, right, Gus? So anyway, I hope those are some helpful tips. If you have any questions about real estate or about dogs, give me a call. Otherwise, have a great day. Boom. That was 60 seconds or less, and it was from me. So the 2 options, I can post that article or I can shoot that video. What's someone more likely to engage with online? Are they more likely to, on their phone, click on an article, wait for it to load, and read, or watch a 60-second video with a dog in it and me talking to them? Because again, if they're on my business page, if they're in my sphere, they already have some sort of relationship with me. So they trust me, they've worked with me, they're friends or family, so they already have that relationship there. So that's more valuable and it's more interesting. And again, dogs and babies, right? Those are the 2 things. You use dogs or babies, you're going to get business. But those are the options I have. Can you recap when you're wrapping up? Can you recap those 4 things the video accomplished? Yes, I will do that right now, Chris, because we are at 11 and I don't want to take you guys too long. But I think the main takeaway I want you guys to take away from everything here is that the most successful forms of social media marketing are the forms that bring your audience value first and bring you value second. The more value you provide, the more value you will get in return from your audience. Because again, if I see an ad from you on day 1 that's asking you for my business, I owe you nothing. If over time you give me interesting content, you build a relationship with me, then by the time that you say, hey, by the way, if you want a realtor, give me a call, I go, well, yeah, duh, of course. Who else would I work with? So build value, build relationships. The Chris Jane video, if you go to Chris Jane Sells Homes on Facebook, like I said, the 4 things that his listing videos do really well. 1 is they market that listing, right? It's marketing for the buyers. The buyers get to see the home. They get to hear Chris's take on the home. 2, it's marketing for the sellers. So obviously, hey, this seller listed their home with me. I made a video for him. So the seller is happy that they're doing a video campaign custom for their home. 3, it is showing potential sellers what he does for his listings. So again, if you see over time 3 or 4 videos over the course of 2 months that Chris does for his listings, you start to go, well, if he does that for them, he'd probably do that for us too, right? That seems like a pretty good idea. And then number 4 is it showcases him. So Chris's listing videos are not all these huge drone fancy videos, and there's nothing wrong with drone footage, trust me, drone footage could be great. But it's from him. It's from his point of view. So it starts with him talking, you see his face, he says a little hello, and then over the rest of the video, you hear his voice talking, and then he's sometimes at the end of them too. So it's marketing the home to buyers, providing value to the seller, providing value to potential sellers, and marketing himself. And those are the 4 things, Chris. Any more questions? We go. Tammy says, when I'm on Facebook, I often mute sound. What are your thoughts on video versus a different kind of post with that in mind? I think, yeah, you say mix it up. So I think mixing up the content is good. I don't think every single post you do should be video, because like I said, that can't, depending on your setting, depending on where you are, that can be a little bit annoying if it's just video, especially, like I said, if it was just me from my office every day. That being said, and video could be its whole own, 4th part of this webinar if we wanted it to be. But video is just point blank the most watched form, the most engaged with form of media on Facebook. Now that's a 2-way street. Facebook has told us, and I mean us as in Coldwell Banker specifically, we've sat in a room and they've told us we push video content more than other content. Our algorithm is built to push video content. So if you and I, Tammy, we both post a new listing and I do a video and you do photos, without even spending any money, my video is going to be in front of more people. Secondly, people engage with video more than they engage with photos, more than they engage with links, etc. So that's why it becomes a 2-way street. People only engage with video, so Facebook wants to show them more video. Facebook shows us more video, so we engage with more. It goes on and on. Now, the other part of your question is a good point. When I'm on Facebook, I often mute sound. So that's I have it set up on my phone where sound is automatically muted, and I actually have to be the one to turn the sound on if I want to hear it. That's pretty common. What that means is that, sorry, I'm losing my voice. I've been talking. Did a webinar before this one too. What that means is that those first 3 seconds, whatever shows up on screen, is incredibly important. Additionally, the text you put above that screen is incredibly important because you need to hook me. You need to make me want to turn the sound on. So, for example, if you're talking about a luxury listing, if you let's say you have you were blessed enough to get a $750, a $1 million listing, the first part of your video should be that listing. It should not be a logo. It should not be a big grand entrance. It should be boom. If the text above says, check out my new $2 million listing, or check out this new luxury condo with beautiful views of St. Croix, of the bay, you better show me that condo right away. That particular point is exactly what I did at my old job. We were a YouTube channel, and then Facebook video came out. And our question was, how are they different, and how do we capture views on Facebook? What we learned is that you cannot just take a YouTube video and upload that to Facebook as well. I don't mean copy and paste. I mean the actual file. You need to do them differently. They're different things. So, just as actually, I'll just go right here. I'll type in SourceFed. So, at my old job, we would always start our videos. Whoa, that's weird. SourceFed News. I don't know who that person is. That's funny. SourceFed News. Here we go. Okay. We would always start our videos with something attention grabbing. The text would be attention grabbing, and the video would. So again, right here, this is one actually the last videos I worked on before I left the company. Look, this is the opening frame. This is not. I don't know why it's being weird. This is the opening frame of the video. The tagline, "Is this the future of selfies?" And then an example of what that is. You can see our logo, the little nerdy N down in the corner. But it is not a big opening entrance. It's not an intro. It is, here's the content we're trying to provide you with. So, and then, as the video goes, turn that stupid music off. As the video goes, we show you what we're talking about. So to combat that audio thing, to answer your question, Tammy, is if you're ever able to show me something as opposed to verbally telling me it, then show me. It should always be visual first. Like I said, if I'm talking about my dogs in a video, I better show you my dog. I better have him in my arm, or it better be a photo of him, or sorry, a frame of him. So yeah, we do turn the sound off. A lot of us start with the sound off. So it's on you to make me want to turn the sound on. I saw one actually just yesterday. One of my Ohio agents sent this to me. That one of their rivals did this really funny video, and I told them if it wasn't their rival, I'd think it's hilarious. But it is. But again, this is last Thursday, right? So this guy, I'm gonna try to play it frame by frame very carefully. He kind of comes out of the pool, and then as you watch him go, he's dancing to the jitterbug. And again, you're not gonna be able to see it well in every single shot. I think this is an amazing real estate video. It's hilarious. But what my original point here was, if you look at the text he accompanied it with, the first thing he says is turn sound on. So he's hoping that people do it. But look at this again. 1.7 thousand likes, 1.3 thousand shares, 241,000 views from a small real estate company, 425 likes on their page. That's it. I'm just going to say that one more time. 241,000 views from a business page with 425 likes. That is insane. Yeah, and exactly, Chris. That is genuinely one of the tips that I learned at film school. Right, was it's visual. When you're writing a script, you do not say something if you can show it. And it's the same thing with video here. So this guy, again, it's from Mac Real Estate Group. So I'm sure if you look at that, you'll see the video too. He's in San Diego, actually, not in Ohio, but he was shared from them. This is a great example of a listing video that is hilarious, is funny, it brings value, and it makes me want to work with this guy. So Mac Real Estate Group, try looking that up and watching this video, because you think, just the JD in me, you think the bit is going to be that he just dances every frame, but every room of the house that he shows, he does something different, and it gets funnier and funnier. And I hate saying that because it's a Keller Williams agent, but it's a really good video. So that's what I'm going to wrap on, guys, is that it's value, right? I'm actually really going to think about doing a 4th webinar in this series purely about video, because it's such a big topic in itself. But that's where our philosophy comes from. That's where my personal social media philosophy comes from, is that's providing value. It's what can I give them in hopes of them returning that to me down the road. I'm glad that you guys were asking questions the whole time. That really makes me feel like you guys are engaged and you're learning. So thank you guys for that. As always, if you have more questions down the road, give me a call. You guys both just said do a 4th one on video, so I will do that. I'll have to look at the calendar to see if it'll be the next week, but Corinne and I will get that out to you guys. So thank you guys so much. Seriously, I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. If you are like me, watch some World Cup games. It's just the best time of year. It really is. Best time of every 4 years. Have a great rest of your week, and I will see you guys next Thursday. Bye.